Creating the change required to transform the classroom into a modern learning environment is a challenge educators must face as they endeavor to move towards a 21st century model. Our world is a rapidly changing sphere. These changes impact life as we know it. It affects our culture, our communication, our work, and indirectly the experiences we must strive to offer in our educational environments in order to meet the demands of the future. My personal journey of transformation began when I enrolled in the Coetail program. Much reflection and dialogue occurred over the course of a year with other educators within my newly established and developing personal learning network. As a result of this dialogue, I came to realize that the modern classroom environment is facilitative by nature. The teacher acts as a learning coach. Collaboration forms a pivot for all learning activities, which are relevant and skills-based. Students learn by doing. My grade level colleagues and I proposed a variety of creative changes to our schedule and practice. The main objective was to utilize our time more efficiently and to provide an environment in which students were engaged and motivated to learn. A heavily scripted solar energy science unit was redesigned to include 21st century practices. In its place, we created an alternative energy project-based unit. I wanted to collaborate closely with the media and IT specialist in order to be able to provide a multidisciplinary approach to the unit. The grade level team designed the outline of the unit while the specialist offered advice and ideas. Classroom schedules were adapted in order to utilize contact time more effectively. Instead of separate blocks, we now had project time. Incorporating all our subject areas into one project was a new approach for me and for our elementary school. Desiring to be as student-centered as possible within our context, I decided to base our planning on Tom Woodward's 21st Century Skills Continuums. Based on these, I realized that our students and our present system are still very much entrenched within the entry and developing levels. Another of my goals was to pilot a process within my class and grade level that could provide evidence and experience for future changes to our elementary program and classroom practice. I wanted to connect students with the skills they will need as they continue on their learning journey. For the purpose of the project, students were divided into collaborative groups. These groups were set up to function like companies. At the launch of the project, each group received a binder with all their instructions. Instruction and ongoing coaching was provided to develop collaborative group skills. Problem-solving techniques were introduced and practiced. After a class on corporate branding, each group had to design a logo and brand themselves for the purpose of the project. The media specialist introduced the PLUS research model and orientated students in the use of the library resources and databases. Ongoing research support was provided to assist groups in developing their project proposals. Each company had to present their research at various times and respond to questions from their peers. ICS Addis Ababa has a Moodle e-learning site for the development of courses and units. I chose to use what we had available on site to support the project and development of 21st century skills. I set up a learning platform for my class on the Mahara interface connected to the ICS site. Each student created a blog on their individual Mahara sites and then shared it with our class. Students were taught how to blog and were required to respond to articles. A feedback comment element became part of the process. One of the ways the IT teacher supported the project was through the application of inspiration to assist the groups and individuals with their planning. A seminar covering visual literacy was hosted in our class. Students were taught the basics of web design and the power of presentation. Each group then had to prepare a Zen formatted presentation, storyboarding their ideas and using Creative Commons for their imagery. Before the project was introduced, our students had already begun tinkering with the basics of programming through MIT's Scratch program. The final product was a website. The IT specialist introduced basic coding using a variety of platforms. Groups collaborated to design a company webpage. Although basic in nature, students relished the opportunity to create and express their ideas in this format. Change requires courage and perseverance. Working collaboratively at times resulted in things moving a little slower than expected. It also provided the impetus for ideas and innovation that could not have happened was I working alone. Redesigning the use of time created opportunities that were not previously possible. This enabled us to use resources much more flexibly, and students were able to learn and collaborate at their own pace. Many of the skills in this unit were new or relatively new to our students. This and the project-based approach definitely caused some tension. I discovered that our students were not used to directing their own learning or were unsure of how to create or innovate as they solved issues that arose. Most were still in the mode of expecting the teacher to teach them in the traditional sense of the word. This paradigm will need to be addressed school-wide for further change to take place as we transform our practice. Overall, the project achieved its goals. Students and staff collaborated in a learning environment that proved to be both exhilarating and challenging. By attempting to mimic the real world within the classroom, we truly broke down barriers and created a platform for further discussion in terms of making ongoing changes to current practices within our school. I believe that we owe it to our students to be agents of change. As we embrace the new, as we journey with them, we become part of the process of creating the environments that lead to growth. As educators, we need to power up, utilizing all aspects of technology. The future literally starts now. A brighter future for learning and for the world we inhabit.